Michelle, are you there?
Hi,
What are you doing? Hi,
how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to use my laptop, but I guess I don't have a microphone on my laptop.
Oh, you don't?
I don't know. It doesn't let me turn anything on.
That's weird.
So I have to use my iPad, but then I can't look at the packet
Oh,
because I'm so retarded.
Is that the laptop from the office, Diane?
No, it's my personal laptop. I have the iPad from the office.
is it an old laptop? I thought
So
all
no,
that-
it's a new, yeah, I don't know. And of course, my daughter's not here today to look and figure out why I don't have sound.
Right. You
I'm
have like
sure
a
I
little, icon at the bottom right, like a sound icon, speaker icon.
Yeah, so that is X and I can't un-X it. It won't let me turn it on. So that's kind of strange, isn't it?
That is weird.
I know. I must have set something up at some point. I don't know what I did.
I know what you mean. I can be the same way with computers.
I used to think I was pretty good, but I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's everybody?
Doing
How are
fine.
you? Everybody's good?
Good.
Nothing crazy happening there, right?
Not that I know
That's a good answer.
of.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at systems, display, come on, brightness,
Do control panel, maybe?
control panel. Let's find that.
Or like if you type that in the bottom left.
Hmm.
On mine, it comes up, there's a section hardware and sound.
No, I have all these. It's like a weird, I guess that's not a full laptop. Maybe it's kind of like a tablet-y work laptop. I don't know. I have all these apps, but none of them say anything. I don't know.
Oh,
So I just look up Mike.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I can't figure it out. Microphone setup.
Gary, we didn't hear back yet, Michelle, from Ernest, right?
no, nothing yet.
So the West Wenham Park, we don't know if Ernest is gonna make it tonight or not,
All right.
because Kate had a family emergency and couldn't make it for tonight.
Very well.
Ernest was gonna do it, but we're not certain if he will be.
I hope Kate's okay.
Yep. Yeah, we think he'll be okay.
And is Michelle okay? Michelle, oh, that's another town. Never mind. Sorry.
Evening, Chief.
Good evening.
Hey, Chief.
How are you doing?
I'm good. And you?
I am good.
Good. I like seeing
Good look.
faces.
That looked like a pretty big accident on 1A yesterday afternoon. Was there injuries there?
Yes, but they did not want to be transported. They went on their own. Yeah, 4-car motor vehicle accident.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Turning left out of Friend Court.
No, in front of the farm.
Oh, $6:28.
Oh, Diane, when Rich and I met with Chris today this afternoon, we think we came up with a resolvable
Oh, good,
Yeah,
good. Good to hear that.
yeah. Just doing each of them one at a time.
That's all you can do.
Mm.
Such a mess. I just don't want it to end up being a crazy time in October, November when we got to send out those bills or whatever we call them.
I see Steve.
Hi,
Welcome,
Steve.
Steve. Be starting in a minute here. Do we have Peter anywhere yet?
How do you see everybody? How come I can't see?
Do you have who?
Peter Clay?
Hi, Steve.
Hey,
Not yet.
how's everyone doing?
Honky dory.
Good.
6:30. There we go. Pete's here from the golf course.
Oh, there he is.
Gary, you want to call to order 6:30?
Yes, so as current vice chair, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:30. It's a virtual Zoom meeting. It's being recorded and we'll take roll call votes for everything. So first of all, roll call vote, Diane,
Here.
Peter,
Here,
Gary's here. Ooh, nice golf course. Been down in Augusta. No, not much. So much water. All right. So first thing, we'll see if there's any public input. If Michelle could check the boxes.
No, I don't see anything in the chat.
All right. Then having welcomed Peter Clay to the select board as our third member, we also get to introduce our new town administrator, Steve Poulos, join us tonight. And he will be formally joining us on the 23rd of May for his first day of work. So good evening, Steve. You want to introduce yourself there for a minute?
Yeah, sure. My name is Steve Poulos, and I am excitedly the new town administrator for the town of Wenham. I will be on May 23rd, I believe. And currently, I am the finance director for the town of Marblehead. And prior to that, I was the deputy director of finance for the town of Danvers.
So welcome to the new town. I know what you live just up the road here, so it'll be a shorter commute for you too, right?
Yeah, that's a nice perk for sure.
All right.
Yeah, going from Marblehead to Wenham is it's a big difference.
In the commute.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. And I know Tom and you'll have a good transition handover on all the things. And we look forward to getting down to work on the 23rd.
Yeah,
Peter, Diane,
yeah, well,
anything for Steve?
No, just a welcome from me. Looking forward to having you here. We'll try to
welcome.
make May 23rd easy, but come the 24th,
yeah, that's
down
in the
to
real
seriously.
fun side.
Exactly.
One day to have coffee and donuts, right? And then,
You got it.
I appreciate the welcome and the introduction. I'm excited to get started.
All right. Sounds good, Steve.
All
We're
right,
excited to see you.
all right.
All right.
Everyone have a good night.
Good
You
night.
too. Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, Gary,
Hey. Yes.
I did think of a few words I'd like to say. So I've done some aggressive orientation meetings. So I had a good hour with Tom. I had time with Kevin and Trapper, or Steven, excuse me, a couple days ago. And then Stephen gave me the most amazing tour of Wenham
Mhm.
today, of all the places that I'd never seen before. And we really live in a very beautiful town, and we should make sure we keep that up. So thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
It's a
He'll be
great
giving
tour.
the same tour to Steve also.
Yes.
He gave it to me my first tenure here, and every nook and cranny that I never expected to see in Wenham, Chief Kavanaugh knew where it was.
So Chief, I never had one of those tours.
Let
Let me know when your schedule's free.
All right, or maybe I'll go when Steve comes.
That's all right.
All right.
Okay, Tom, you want to take over announcements?
Okay. Thank you. My first is where we are. Okay, announcements. First, I also, excuse my throat right now. I also do want to welcome Steve. I'm looking forward to him coming here in May 23rd. And I know he'll do a great job here, and I wish you the best, Steve.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. You're in a small group now, the two most favorite people on the face of the earth, backup quarterbacks and new town managers. So you're welcome, and enjoy your time while you have it here.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Steve's been introduced. Okay, on our boards and committee openings, please be on the lookout for upcoming appointments and openings on our boards and committees. A list of openings will be forthcoming. One thing that Michelle, Trudy, and I are working on is to make sure that there's a few committees that the year terms aren't lining up. Particularly, let's say, if you have a 7-member committee and it's a 3-year term, it should be basically 3, 2, and 2 as far as the appointments. And some of them are at this point 4, 3, 4, 2, and 1. So we're looking at trying to get them at least on the correct cycles going forward. But that's not just a Wenham thing, it happens in all towns. So the three of us will be working on that and making sure when the board does their, excuse me, the board does their appointments, they'll have the perfect timing of that. Sometimes it happens when a individual is filling a slot that just resigned and so forth.
So Tom, just a comment there. So we're looking for both incumbents in the position and new people to
Correct.
go onto the website and let us know that you're ready to sign up for some more time. And given that we're aligning the years, there may be some slots that won't take the full commitment. So take a look and come out and volunteer, everybody.
Okay. Next, the update, and I apologize for my throat also, for those who aren't hearing me too well. The House Ways and Means budget was released this week, and we did not receive any additional funds. I wasn't expecting it. The unrestricted general government aid was basically the same across the board for all communities and was not increased. Regional school district did receive an approximately about almost $50,000 more than what the governor proposed. We'll be watching how that continues in the House budget and the Senate budget. Our assessments really didn't change. So pretty much what the governor proposed for assessments and general government assistance is remaining the same, and not really expecting that to move during the budgetary process. Next, good news from our home consortium. They are proposing to grant $145,000 to the Harbor Light project, which is a creation of 45 rental units for the elderly in new construction. 11 would be assisted by the home consortium, and basically it's 30% of the median income or lower. 3 units will serve the disabled, and we Appreciate that project moving forward and appreciate the Home Consortium from adding additional funds to the project. Next, while we're talking of funds, we received from one of the opioid settlements, literally a 17-year funding package for programs, addiction programs, prevention programs in Wenham. The amounts that we're getting every year, excuse me, is between basically $1,065 and $2,651 for a total of $23,574 up to FY 38. And our public health department will be one of the groups that'll be working along to for any addiction prevention programs that we may be doing in the future. Next, regarding our annual town meeting, we have now filed the legislation to increase the board number from 3 to 5. A bill number has not been given it yet, but if it follows through what other towns have done, approval should take place sometime in October or November. There will be a virtual hearing probably in May or June on the bill. So at that time, our chair and whoever else wishes to testify will probably testify before the municipalities committee with the legislature, but that will be virtual. Next, just a couple of financial updates. One is we got notice of the State Streets and Roads for All grant program from the federal government, which I forwarded to Mr. Souza. We may not be eligible for it because we have to develop a comprehensive safety action plan, and we need to file in May for this. But we'll see what Rich can come up with. But anything that has tagged to it to money, I make sure our departments know about it. Mention that. Next, also, our emergency management group, and I see Chief Kavanaugh still there. They're working to make this a very, very intensive management department program going forward. And I appreciate Chief Kavanaugh, Deputy Baxter, Chief DiNapoli, Rich Souza, Deputy Lucatoni for working on this. And right now there is a project funding program from NERAC, which is primarily police oriented, which I submitted to Kevin DiNapoli for if he's interested into applying for that. And last, and Steve can, where's Steve? He's still here. Steve can take, not Steve Kavanaugh, Steve Poulos. And he can take credit for it when he comes on board. But it looks like we're getting a fairly good discount on our insurance policies for FY23. So, I mean, that's money that we have already budgeted that will eventually flow down the free cash for next year. But it looks like there could be a savings of between $40,000 and $60,000. I'm checking it out when she gets back from vacation, but the numbers from what we budgeted at 180,000 looks like it's coming in at maybe 125 to 130. So that's good. And it gives Steve a little more wiggle room in there when we're looking at free cash or if we have to do any transfers during the year. So I think that's it, Mr. Chairman. And I apologize for the voice.
Been working too hard on the phone, getting us lots of money there. Sounds
No,
like,
it just happened over the weekend. I hope
right.
it is what it could be.
Very well. Well, nothing particular for the chair's report. Diana, Peter, do you have anything to report?
I do not.
You're muted there, Peter.
I think I heard that we did get the state funding for Maple Woods.
Yes, we
Yes,
did.
that is correct.
So that's, there you go.
A big plus for us. All right, then, Michelle, next slide, please. And this is Diane's last shot at the minutes, maybe.
Maybe. Move to approve the Wenham Select Board meeting open session minutes for March 28th, 2022, March 30th, 2022. And I move to approve and hold the executive session minutes from March 30th, 2022.
Second. Any discussion, Peter? You're muted again.
All right, I'm gonna abstain.
All right. So roll call vote then, Diane, if you're ready. Diane?
Yes, yes.
Gary, yes. And those minutes are approved and the executive to approve and hold. Thank you. All right, new business. So we have a new board ready to reorganize. And any discussion, Diane or Peter, on procedure here, or just make open nominations?
Well, I think we should probably stick with our procedures. I don't know if it was a policy or the procedures where we would go the second year in, would then move to the chair, and
Very well.
on the third year, you become the chair, vice chair, clerk, if that's good with you.
So Peter, yes, last year, the then board put forward a move and a vote to move back to the traditional 1, 2, 3 steps of clerk first year, vice chair second, and the chair the third. So Diane, you want to make the motions here?
Sure. So I move to approve Gary Cheeseman as the chair for the select board.
Peter,
gonna do
you're muted again if you
God damn
second.
it. I second.
All right. Then any discussion? All right.
Nope.
Then a roll call vote for the chair. Peter,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes,
Gary, yes. Your
congratulations.
second nominations, Diane.
So today I would move to approve. Do I jump over myself
No,
as
you're
vice
good.
chair? I
No,
move to
you're,
approve Diane Bucco as vice chair for the select board.
I second.
any discussion? Roll call vote. Peter,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
Gary, yes.
And then I move to approve Peter Clay as the clerk of the select board.
Second. Any discussion? All right, Peter,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
Gary, yes. All right, so we
Awesome.
got that out of the way. Then
3 years from now, it's gonna be the reign of terror.
all right. So it's, we'll see going forward. I look forward to a very collaborative and board here. So I think we'll get a lot done this year. All right.
Forward to it.
So Tom, as Kate went emergency, do we have anyone to speak to the West Wenham Park online here?
We were trying to.
Yes. Ernest Ashley is online.
All right, Ernest,
Thank you.
welcome.
Is it possible for me to share my screen?
If Michelle can do that.
I will try just to send, host has disabled sharing. So if someone could let me in, I have a couple of exhibits.
All right.
Yes, I just made you a co-host so that you can share now.
Thank you. To continue, yes. And let me. Okay, can you see my screen, which
Yes,
has
looks
a
good.
picture of the West Wenham Park?
Yes.
Thanks very much for letting me have this time. I'm speaking on behalf of the Open Space and Recreation Committee. And we had a plan that had public participation. And one of the ideas that was emphasized was to reuse or better utilize underutilized facilities. And so we hired a landscape architect firm with a grant from the Community Preservation Act And the BSC group did a very good job, we felt, on providing some input onto the facility. So let me just take a moment to go into the area. The types of improvements that were identified necessary were regarding the entrance of the facility, some parking, and some drainage, a culvert, and a few things. And the reason I'm bringing those up is I understand that there are some discussions about American Recovery Plan Act funds, and this might be an infrastructure aspect of it, not the entire program that we're dealing with, but the entrance and drainage ideas. So here is the West Wenham Park on 97, just down from Richdale Store. And the concept here would be to have a limited amount of pavement with parking on gravel surfaces adjacent to it, and then increase the access through one paved pathway up to the top of the hill where you could have an accessibility drop off. So really this would be the ask, dealing with the drainage, which has a culvert in this area, and then coming down and helping in terms of getting the accessibility of this park improved for potential future access. But let me give you a little tour of some of the other concepts that have been done. There is currently one tennis court present there that is actually longer than it is necessary, but it is fenced. And it would be enough room for 4 pickleball courts or other multi-use concepts like that. There is a half-court basketball here, and there is some topography between the parking area and the top of the hill here. And so basically this would be a walking type of facility. It's adjacent to the Audubon property, and you see at the top of the hill some of the pathways that are on the Audubon property. And then the concept would be to have a walking path and ultimately develop the property with some amendments that could include a pavilion, some playgrounds, although there are other playgrounds for that age group in town. This pit, called a Gaga pit, is a very inexpensive means of providing play for elementary and middle school age children. And then the concept of a pump track was built up. And a pump track is basically dirt or otherwise structures that can be used by kids on bicycles to get exercise and some excitement, and it makes for a destination. So we do have a budget, and I had a conversation with interim town manager Younger and former select person Catherine Harrison, just to discuss what this was, and it seemed like something that the town would like to consider. So that is why I brought it to the select board. And as I mentioned, the entire project is in the $700,000 range, but the infrastructures that I was talking about for the accessibility, parking, and drainage that would then allow for additional development of this property over the years is probably more in the $100,000 to $150,000. And my guess is that that would be the very much type of project that the American Recovery Plan Act funds might be used for. So I don't know what more detail you would be interested in. I do have actually a budget, and there is a narrative that was provided by the BSC group that I could enter into the board selectment records. Any
Thank you very much,
questions?
Ernest.
Thank you.
Any questions from Peter?
I'm curious, does this have to go in front of the planning board?
Ann Weeks is on the Open Space and Recreation Committee, and she is on the planning board as well. This would definitely be something that should be considered as part of the master plan, which is in the works. And there was some question, we've even entertained discussions with the rec board and the person who was proposing a skateboard park, and discussed that this would not be the ideal location for something like a skateboard park. So Again, Peter, I think this would be considered as part of the overall master plan, but it is a property that the town owns that is currently somewhat underutilized and maybe in need of some tender loving care.
Right, well, I went up there and we used to practice when I was coaching my daughter's youth soccer team.
Yep.
We used to actually practice there.
And
I've
that's
been-
about the size of the play field that's up there. It's
Yep.
probably good enough for a practice field or something, but
No, I think it looks great.
okay. Any other questions?
I love it. What would be the next steps though, Ernest?
Oh, that's a good point, Diane. Obviously, we have looked at funding. You can see, well, I clicked the wrong button here, funding shortlist. We have received a list. We've even applied for one kind of overarching grant. But in our discussions with Catherine, it was pretty clear that we probably need to do some fundraising because, of course, all of the grants that we would apply for would have some commitment and matching funds from the town. So my guess is that we should do some legwork and advertising, generate some interest and perhaps some fundraising, but this would definitely be something that we would present for consideration by the select board as well as perhaps at a town meeting.
I
guess it
think
will
it's,
have to
I
go
think it's a
down.
great idea. We have lots of space and area in the town that we don't use as well as we should. And I think that would be a great way to increase the value of the town and my neighborhood.
And yes, I think you mentioned that the neighborhood, and that's important because we recognize that Pingree Park is such a valuable resource with the things, the tennis courts that are there, the baseball and other things, and it's very central to downtown. But out in the western part of the town, we do not have the same kind of facilities and
Right.
a lot of neighborhoods around there. So we thought that this is a pretty worthy project. Now, you ask again about next steps. I believe that the infrastructure investments would be very well served because it would be a short step from there to repairing the one court that's there to make for something like the pickleball courts. It wouldn't be as involved as what I've heard for estimates for Pingree Park. And then the pump track could be something that could be constructed with natural materials and with labor largely, and it would not require a lot of maintenance. And then these other aspects of it are more expensive, like putting in either playground facilities or a pavilion that would allow for people to maybe use it for family gatherings or other things. So these would be kind of added features as we, have the money to be able to add them. But I think the key ask here is if the town would consider making investments into the accessibility and drainage of this facility.
Anything else, Diane?
We'll unshare.
Well, thank you, Ernest. Certainly, it's a property that's ripe for repair, you might say. And hopefully we can move forward this either with ARPA funds or I think it's going to take some volunteer work too. So hopefully we'll get some people to step forward that have interest in developing this property.
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
we do have Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, as I understand it. Actually, the COVID actually increased the number of scouts. So this could be a good project for a couple of them to do the pump road or whatever that is.
Pump track? Mhm.
Pump track, sorry.
Yeah. No, I
Girl
think.
Scouts as well.
I mean, we could get, if we can get the materials, we can probably get some consulting and certainly, one piece of heavy equipment and a good afternoon could create some pretty attractive features for that age group, which was another thing that was stressed by people on the committee. you know, that once the kids get to high school age or driving age, they don't need a facility like that. It's the ones that are in the beyond the little kid playground that need some place to go. And so some ideas. Thank you very much for your interest in this.
All right, thank you, Ernest. All right. So
Thank
I'm
you.
sure Tom and Steve, when he comes on board, will be tracking this, and I know Ann Weeks, being on the two committees, will make sure it gets into the master plan as well. Tom, yes.
Thank you. I've got basically 4 weeks here, so I'm going to use my time. Here, the one thing, and I know Peter, Diane, and Gary know this terminology, but nationally there's a terminology called making communities livable. And what livable is basically one of the terms is taking properties within your town and revitalizing them and making them a place that your citizenry can go to of all ages and enjoying it. I think this is a wonderful project for the town to begin working on. And it's just you're dealing with another aspect of the town that maybe not has gotten as much visibility on projects. And this is right there for them. And this is one of the things, if I wish I would have been here longer, because this is a project that is a lot of fun to work on and has a ton of rewards. So Steve, when you're coming on board, please work with these people, these members, because it's a very worthy project.
For
Sounds
sure.
good. Thank you, Tom. Anything else from anybody? All right, thank you again, Ernest. And
Thank you all.
Great job.
All right, Michelle, step ahead, please, on the slides then. So I believe, is Vicky here with us tonight?
She should
I don't
be-
see that she's on. I don't think
I don't
she's.
see her.
Yeah, Vicky has not joined.
All right. So, Tom, do you want to give us a little bit of background, or I know this is in first position, it's dependent upon the library roof project first, and this is the follow-on step. Is that correct? To get the solar on?
That's correct. Vicky has the actual statistics for it, but this is a part of the project going forth for, basically energy saving on the roof project. And she said she was supposed to be here to give the more specific presentation, but we do need approval of the board for this to be going forward with the roof project. The roof funding came in very well on that project, and this is the added aspect of it.
Very well. So I know, I believe from the previous briefings, this will cover the cost for about 60% of the library's electricity bill over the years. Does that sound familiar?
Correct.
Yeah. So Peter and Diane, it was an extensive contract in the packet. If you've read through that.
I glanced at it. It was a little too extensive for me.
Yeah. Peter?
So my wife just stepped off the trustees of the library. She's been on there for 6 years. I haven't, it seems like a very worthy project.
Very well, then are we ready to make an affirmative vote on this tonight?
I think so.
Diane, are you comfortable?
Yes, but what are we signing? Yes, I like the idea of solar roofing and covering
Yeah,
60%.
so this is the proposed contract for the solar roofing to be added on as a part or an after step for the entire library roof project. So this
And
is kind of
Cost,
phase 2, right, Tom?
Right.
was there a cost associated with that? I didn't happen to see that in those pages.
Do you have any information on that, Tom? My understanding was,
I don't have it in front of me right now.
yeah, no, I think it was
Mm.
essentially we're leasing the roof space and in return, getting back partial coverage of the electrical cost for the library itself.
Yes.
Okay. Did you read it? Did you read it over? You felt comfortable reading it over? I will trust that.
Yeah, so read the contract. I must say I skipped some of the addendums where it just cross-referenced all the things. But yeah,
And
Yeah,
council
let's go for it.
did it also.
Council read it over too?
yes, yes.
Let's go for it.
All right.
Uh-oh, do I have to make the motion?
Yeah, is there a motion, Michelle?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't realize it was going to be
All
voted
right.
on.
So I make a motion that the Wenham Select Board approve the contract for the solar roofing project for the Hamilton Wenham Regional Library.
Peter Clay seconds.
Any further comments? Otherwise, roll
Excuse
call
me.
vote. Yep.
Oop,
Yep, excuse me, Gary, can we just
Yes.
identify that company, please, since we don't have a presentation, the contract company?
Yes, Tom, you have that? Or I got it on there.
Michelle should have that.
I'm scrolling down on the other computer here.
Hi, it's WPI Construction.
Yeah, WPI Construction, Inc. All right, got that, Catherine?
I do, thank you.
Right. So as
Oh, wait a
amended,
minute. I'm sorry, here's Vicky right now.
who is that?
Vicky's here.
All right,
Vicky's president.
We can save her some time.
Yeah, right. Just cut to the chase.
so Vicky, are you on?
Oh, my timing is good, I guess. I just dialed in, yeah.
All right, so yes, we were about to go with the vote here, but perhaps you could give us the highlights more for the public to know what this contract covers.
Sure. So this contract is for the replacement of the shingle portion of the library building. To give a little background, we did put out to bid the whole project, which was the shingle plus the rubber roof. The rubber roof is over the rec center and part of the library, and then the shingle is the main building of the library. But we included the rubber roof as a deduct alternate in case the budget couldn't support the full job. We wanted to make sure we were going to be able to award something. So as the prices came in, WPI construction or contracting was the lowest. But even with the lowest bid, we had to utilize that deduct alternate to get within the budget. So that's what we're recommending award of is just the shingle portion of the job.
But this tonight is we're voting on the solar portion as well.
The solar was all voted on back in August or September. So that's all good to go, the solar contract. This is just the actual construction contract to replace the library roof.
So reading through it,
Just opening the bid tab.
so all the contract, as I read through it, this applies to the shingle roof, not to the solar portion of it. That
Right,
correct? All right,
right,
no mistake
right.
there then, as I read through it.
Can we look at that on the screen? Michelle, is that possible to put some of that up?
Yes, hold on.
I'm sorry, it was just so many papers that I didn't really focus on.
Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Okay, so it is just to do so it says solar roofing, but it's actually just to do the roof.
Yeah, when we put it out to bid, we called it a solar roofing project just because we wanted the roof to be solar ready. Because the solar people are gonna come in right behind them.
Mhm.
So this isn't really the solar portion of the project, but it will be solar ready when this contract's done.
And how
So
much
the
of
act-
this 170,000 is Wenham?
That, I'm not sure how that works with the, who contributes what to the library.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
So, Tom, it's the usual roughly 1/3, 2/3 split as we build out Hamilton here. Right.
Yeah, it's generally the case, Gary. That's the.
Yes.
So we're about 50,000, 55,000.
About 55,000, right?
A
So
115.
my mistake here. So this, although saying so, that's so this solar comes after this contract and say was pre-approved earlier. And that was the one that covers the 60% of the electrical cost, right?
Correct.
All right. So Peter, any questions here now as we get a little bit different information?
Nope.
Diane?
no questions either. We need a
Right.
roof.
Yes. All right.
Oh, so do we need to approve this?
Yeah, so I think we probably need to put forward a new
New motion.
motion then.
Okay. I move that the Wenham Select Board approve our portion of $170,000 for WPI Construction, Inc. to do the said portion of the Hamilton Wenham Regional Library roof.
Second,
Any further comments?
Gary, I have another question. I'm sorry.
Yes, Catherine.
It's my understanding that the 170 is the entire cost and not just Wenham's portion.
Yeah, so we should, as we're the responsible party, I think we need to make the motion for the full 170.
That's correct. You just
Right.
want to approve this contract as written and dated
Right.
and the amount and to whom.
All
So
right.
I move that we approve this contract, with WPI Construction, Inc. for the Hamilton Wenham Regional Library roof as written on today, April 19th, 2022.
second,
All right. Anything further? Does that cover it, Catherine?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
All right. Very well. Roll call vote then, Peter,
aye.
Diane,
Yes,
Gary, yes.
Catherine, I need a little help on my motions.
That's fine.
We'll make the vice chair in charge of all motions, right?
Yeah, it's stressful.
All right.
That's it.
Very well. Michelle, scroll down to the last slide, I believe it is. All right, so new committee composition. I would ask that we look through the full year to establish dates that might not work for the first and third Tuesdays of the month. And so we'll make this first change is, I believe, Tuesdays, May 3rd.
Mhm.
All right, So, and then May 3rd and May 17th for May. Does that work for everybody?
I'm sorry, May 17th doesn't work for me. That's Manchester's election day.
All right. So with no FinCom in action in May, how about can we just slide it to Wednesday, the 18th? Does that work, Peter and Diane?
Works for me.
Yes.
All right. And then looking forward to June, I believe, is it Tuesday, the 4th?
Yeah, that-
Well,
that-
I
That's
see
not
another
gonna-
Tuesday, the 31st. What do we do about the 5th week?
So the 5th week, I think if workload through the summer and starting off here, I think we'll just target the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays.
Okay,
Of
so
each
that's
month?
June 7th. June
Yeah,
7th.
okay. So 7 and 21 in June. Does that look good for folks?
Yes.
All right. So I'm thinking the heavy load at this point is to get all the appointments done. So at our next meeting, we'll formally announce the vacancies. We'll be ready for that, Tom, for the boards and committees. And then probably on the
18th.
second meeting on the Wednesday, the 18th, we'll work our way through all the employee appointments as far as, clock winder and matrons and so forth. And then we would look at the first week in June, the 7th, to make all the boards and committee assignments or votes.
Mhm.
That way people will be in place prior to the 1 July turnover in committees.
That's a great schedule.
All right.
So we'll be back from Philadelphia
on the 7th. And then the one other question I had agenda-wise is not right at this moment, but for you, Diane and Peter, do we want to have a working meeting some Friday to look at the big picture plans for the next year?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So Peter, just bringing forward the agenda question of not determining tonight, but probably at the next meeting, setting a date to have a working group meeting that we just go through the big ideas and so forth to what we need to accomplish over the next year. So I think with Diane's schedule, you're still off Fridays, right, Diane?
I'm available Fridays, yes.
Yes. So maybe a Friday in June, we can look at to take a look at the big projects and what we really want to get done in the year ahead.
Yeah, so I'm good. Like the 10th and the 17th.
All right. All right, so we'll get that together in next meeting, which is May 3rd, the Tuesday, and then it'll be May 18th, the Wednesday, for the 2 meetings in May. And Tom is going to have everything that he wants to get done ready for those 2 meetings, so we'll have a good handoff for Steve.
So Gary, if I could ask, how do you want to do agenda formation and such? Being the chair, that's really your prerogative, but how?
Yeah, so I'm thinking right now with the 2 meetings a month through the summer, at least, till things get busy budget wise, that if the 2 of you can just submit your request to Tom or Steve when he comes on board, and I'll sit down with him probably on a Tuesday or Wednesday to form the agenda, so that even with the Monday holidays, we'd like to get the agenda and the packet out on Thursdays for the 3 of us to review. That sound good?
Sure.
All right. So wide open to what we want to work on. I know we have some of the policies that we didn't get to last summer that we probably want to polish up, but I know there's a lot of other things, Iron Rail, the Route 1A project, and so forth that we can discuss at the working group meeting. All right, Catherine, do we have everything in line for minutes?
Oh,
Gary?
yes.
All right, thank you.
So the working group meeting, that's not public.
Yes, it's a public meeting, but we won't have the routine agendas and so forth. We'll just be discussing the big picture plans,
Okay,
whatever you want to bring forward on that day, you know. In the past, we've looked at the iron rail, cemeteries, you know, holidays, whatever you think's appropriate, or what you think you want to get done this next year.
Yeah, they're public meetings, but they're technically called workshops.
All right, Tom, anything else for tonight?
I'm fine, Mr. Chair.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank you to the staff as always that does all the behind the scenes work, to get these plans together. And if nothing else, Diane, you want to, this will be Peter's job next time, but I'll let you have this one last
It
opportunity.
sort of is my favorite part, but no. I make a motion to adjourn at 7:19 on April 19th, 2022.
second,
Anything else? Anybody? All right. Roll call vote then. Peter,
I,
Diane,
Yes.
Gary, yes. Thank you very much. And we'll see everybody on Tuesday, May 3rd.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming.
You.